Tax season is here, and I know the biggest question on your mind is, where is my tax refund? In this video podcast episode, we're going to be going over all the latest tools that the IRS offers to track your tax refund, including tips to getting your refund faster, as well as the exact timing of when you should expect your tax refund if you filed in January or February. So you want to stick around to the very end. Welcome to the Locum CPA Podcast. My name is Stephen Lee, a CPA that specializes in locum medical professionals. So let's get right into it. How do you track your refund? The IRS offers a very useful tool called Where's My Refund, right? You can access it in 3 different ways. The first way is online, and that URL is IRS.gov /refunds, and I'll leave a link to that site in the information of this video. The second way is the IRS-to-go app. The IRS actually has a mobile phone app that you can access the status of your tax refund. So you can use that, as well as a phone hotline. And I'll leave that number at the very bottom, also in the information section, for an automated update. But in order to check your refund, you're going to need 3 things. The first is your social security number or your ITIN. Once again, you're going to need your social security number. And if you're filing jointly with a spouse, you want to use the primary taxpayer, right? The first name on the tax return. That's the social security number or the ITIN. The second thing you're going to need to know is the filing status of the return that you're filed and you're inquiring about, right? So did you file single, married filing jointly, married filing separately? Whatever that filing status was for the refund that you're looking for, you want to make sure you get that right. And the third thing is the exact refund amount shown on your tax return. So if you are looking for a tax refund or expecting a tax refund for $1,000, you want to have that number. If it's $1,251, you want to have that exact number to the very dollar. A pro tip here is the IRS updates the refund status only once per day. So there's no need to check multiple times, right? So only check once per day. So the next question I get the most often is, how long does it take to get my refund? The timing of your tax refund really is going to depend on 2 different things. The first is how you filed, and the second is the method you chose to receive your refund. And here's the breakdown of the 4 most common scenarios. If you e-filed, right? That's electronically filed. The E stands for electronic. And you chose direct deposit. So you gave the IRS your bank account information for where to send the tax refund. Then most refunds will arrive within 3 weeks, so 21 days. The second scenario is if you electronically filed, but you chose to receive a paper check, not a direct deposit. That's typically going to take 4 weeks, so 1 additional week. If you mailed a paper return, so you didn't file electronically, and you asked for direct deposit. So on that paper return, you actually put the bank account for which you want the tax refund to be deposited into. That's going to take between 6 to 8 weeks. So, we see here it progressively gets longer. And the fourth way is if, let's say, you've mailed a paper return and you requested a paper check, right, for your tax refund. That's going to take 8+ weeks. Okay, so that is the longest way. So once again, if you e-filed and you chose for direct deposit, that's the fastest way, and that's the way that I recommend. 3 weeks, 21 days. E-file and paper check, 4 weeks, right? So you want to definitely file electronically. And another tip here is if your return was accepted on a weekend or a holiday, like a banking holiday, expect some delays. So you want to file, if possible, on a weekday, on a business day. So question for all you who are watching or listening, have you received your refund yet? Or are you still waiting for your tax refund? Drop a comment in the section below. Let's help each other out. If you have questions about your refund, definitely leave a comment. Next question that I get is, if your refund is delayed, what causes a delay in tax refunds? Because the IRS has their own method, but there are certain things that if you filed utilizing certain credits, that it might delay your refund. So let's talk about that, okay? The first one is filing early with the Earned Income Tax Credit, the EITC. That's an additional, or the Additional Child Tax Credit, ACTC. these refunds won't be processed before mid-February. So this is because the IRS is running through their fraud prevention measures. A second way or a second reason why your refund might be delayed is there's due to filing errors or incomplete returns. So if you made a mistake on your tax return, the IRS will need an extra time to review it. So you want to make sure you're double checking your return before you file. Mismatched information. If your W-2, 1099, or other forms don't match the IRS's records or with the forms that they received, that's also going to flag your return and they're going to have to review it. So you want to make sure it's accurately filed. Paper returns, once again, takes much longer. So always e-file when possible, right? So electronically file. Try not to paper file, because also paper filing is actually risky for identity theft. The mail might not get there, so you want to file electronically. And the IRS, lastly, is backlogged, right? There are processing delays. They are still catching up from previous year returns, so you have to be patient with them. So those can also cause delays in your refund. So another tip here is if it's been more than 21 days since you e-filed your tax return or 6 weeks since you paper filed your return, you haven't received your refund, you want to contact the IRS using the number in the information section below. So another one is once you go online, let's say you filed your return, you e-filed, you paper copied, right? And you want to check your refund status, right? When you log in using your social security number, your filing status, as well as the exact refund amount that you're looking for, there's going to be 3 different statuses that will pop up, whether it's online or on the mobile app. The first is return received. What that means is your tax return is in the system and still being processed, okay? So your return has been received, but still being processed. The second one is a refund has been approved. That means that's good news. The IRS has reviewed your return and is preparing your refund. And the last status, the third status, is refund is sent. Your refund is on the way. Yes, that is the best news, right? That the return has been processed and your refund is being sent. One thing you have to be aware of, even though you see the refund is being sent, it can take 1 to 5 days for a direct deposit or several weeks for a paper check to get to you. So you have to be a little bit patient, even though you see that the status says refund sent. All right, 4 tips on how to avoid refund delays. So you want to make sure your refund arrives as soon as possible. So here are some quick tips. First is, once again, e-file your tax return instead of paper filing. Second is opt for direct deposit rather than trying to receive a paper check. The third is double check your return for errors. Remember previously when I was talking about if the W-2 doesn't match up, the 1099 doesn't match up, or some type of status, some of the information on your return is not matching up, that will definitely delay your return because the IRS will flag it and have to review it more closely. And lastly, file early during tax season. We know March 15th is coming. Those are for the business returns, but also April 15th, the original filing deadline. You want to file sometime in February or March, right? Once you have all your information together so that your refund is not delayed. Pro tip is if you owe back taxes, child support, or other federal debts, the IRS may withhold part or all of your refunds. So make sure all your outstanding debts that you know of any before you file. Okay, so once again, back taxes, child support, or other federal debts that might allow the IRS to withhold some of your tax refund from you. So once again, here is the exact dates that the IRS has labeled in terms of if you filed by a certain date, this is when you should expect your refund. So you filed your tax return by January 27th, a month ago, your direct deposit should have arrived by February 18th if there was no issues. If you mailed a check, that should arrive by March 28th. Okay, so that's about 2 months after you filed if it's January 27th. If you filed by February 3rd, direct deposit should arrive by February 24th, while mailed checks should arrive by April 4th. If you filed by February 10th, direct deposit arrives by March 3rd, mail checks arrives by April 11th. If you filed by February 17th, direct deposit should arrive by March 10th. That you should probably have received that by now. Mail checks arrives by April 18th. And if you filed by February 24th, direct deposits should arrive by March 17th. while mail checks should arrive by April 25th, right? And also, if you are expecting a state income tax refund, remember, each state has their own Department of Revenue, right? Or Treasury Department. So you want to check your specific state's website to see and track the status of your state income tax refund. Thank you for tuning in, and I wish you a happy filing season. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future tips. Thanks for watching again. See you next time. Bye.